All right, welcome back. This is Pink Girly with Bricolage with Pink Girly. That's my channel name. And this is part 3 of my Daphne's Diary Eclectic Junk Journals. So I'm making 3 small journals from one magazine, and I'm at the part where I'm working on my covers. So the last time I left you, I was going to trim my pages, which I went ahead and did, and then I picked out some fabric to go in between my covers, and I'm going to show you what I picked out for the journals. And then I'm going to show you what I did, and then I'm going to hopefully stitch a journal together. Yikes! So this is what I'm up to so far. So this is the journal cover that I'm going to use some of the rest of the magazine ephemera to put on here to say Daphne's. And this is the one with 2 signatures. Now I messed up a little bit here. I got my covers mixed up, and I marked this for 3 signatures, but this only has 2. So I adapted and then marked it for 2. So this is going to have 2 signatures. So before we get to that, I'm going to show you how I put that fabric on. I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac. Move a few things out of the way here. So for this little journal with this little gal on the front and some butterflies and the coloring and the flowers here, I had this fabric, which I think will work. And then on the inside, I'm going to use some yellow. And then this one is the one I had mentioned. I thought I had some blue stripe. Now, this isn't the exact blue stripe that I thought I had, but instead of digging around and wasting a lot of time, this one I think works well too. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use this plain cotton blue for the inside. So what I did was, now again, I'm working off of the idea of putting the journals together like Megan. No, it's not Megan. It's Megjournals, her channel. And she makes these cute little chunky journals. And she may have a Daphne video. I'm not sure. I didn't look. But I'm kind of springboarding off of her idea. So I've cut my covers, and I've decided I want them laying out flat. I want it about 10 inches. So I don't think it's kind of hard maybe for you to see me well, maybe it won't be too bad. I'm going to go all the way over to the left-hand side of my grid here, and I'm going to work and line this up on these lines, which is going to kind of help me. Now, this is the way I want the book, right? The cover. Now, I have decided that I don't want to glue my fabric on top. I want to be able to see the cover. Now, on this one, it doesn't look so great. But see, I'm going to put a little piece of lace or something there. So that'll jazz that up. So what I want to do is I want to glue this on the bottom side of my cover piece. And this is what I want for my outside spine, this fabric. So I want to glue it this way. Now I don't want to glue it incorrectly. So this is how I want it to be. And I want my covers to be even so that when I close my book, that's my 10-inch mark there. When I close my book, my pages are even. So I'm going to try to line it up on my line there. Now this fabric could be zhuzhed down just a little bit. Get those fringes. So I'm going to use Fabri-Tac, and I think I'm going to make myself a little mark there, if I can see it, and a little mark here where I can line that up. So I want the glue on this side of the cover. So this is the back of the cover, and I'm just going to run a little bead of this Fabri-Tac. Now this, I use the Fabri-Tac for two reasons. It stays pliable and it sticks pretty well and stays where you put it, doesn't wiggle around, you know. So now I'm going to guide that, put that on my lines so I can see what I'm doing. Just going to press that down. And then I want to make sure when I sit this one down, it's lined up. I can always trim it, but I'm hoping I don't have to. So I want this cover to go right about there. Lost a piece of my pencil. I don't want that on my book. Scoot. Make sure I'm gluing the right side. So this is going to be the inside. Just another little strip of glue. You can use any glue you want. This I have, and it works well for me. So again, I'm going to be mindful that this is my 10-inch mark here. I can figure it out with my glare. And straighten up that bottom. And then just press that down. Now this is just a thin piece of cotton, and I wanted more than that. So what I've done is cut a second piece of fabric that I can come in and glue here. It's just going to give me a little more stability, I think, when I put my signatures in. Now, like I mentioned on my other videos, I haven't done this before, so we're just going to see how this works. I'm not going to put glue on the entire area because I want to be able to sew through this fabric, and I don't want glue on my needle. Now you could stitch your signatures in on a sewing machine, which I have and I could do, but a lot of folks may not have that. And so I'm going to show you the pamphlet stitch, just a simple three hole pamphlet stitch. And that's how I'm going to put my signatures in. So now I'm going to come back on this side and put my glue, my Fabri-Tac. I'm going to fill in that whole area. And the same on this side. I could have ironed my fabric. I forgot to do that. But my signatures are going to be sewn on there, so you're not really going to see much of this, right? So then I went ahead and I made a little cheat sheet for myself. I took a piece of paper and made it the size of my pages. I folded it in half, and then I'm going to just put this aside. And then I put it on my little grid here. And for me, it's, let's see, 6 inches. So then I decided, you know, like, where do I want my holes for my 3 pamphlet stitch? So I decided I wanted a hole here, here, and here, and here. And then I just opened up my paper And right where I made those marks, I put my 3 holes. Now, it doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can put your 3 holes wherever you want to put them. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then I folded it where I can see those holes. And then what I did on this one, because I thought this was going to be a 3, you know, I had the pages mixed, the signatures mixed up. So I made myself 3 little grid line marks. I've got 2 inches here, and I marked every half inch where I wanted my signatures to stitch in. And then I took my little grid, laid it on my line, opened up my page, and then where I made the little hole, I just colored a little spot so I know where to put the stitches. So that's what I'm going to show you on this one here. I know it's probably clear as mud, right? But you can leave me a comment, leave me a message, ask me a question. I'll be happy to answer if I can do it. All right. So now I'm going to mark where I want my signatures to lay in. Now here is the edge of my cover. Right there. So I want my signatures in between there. So I want a center line. And then I'm going to choose about a 1/4 inch together. I mean, I think that's fine for this kind of journal. And then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm just going to give myself a little guide. Now I can stay on if I've got this lined up properly, I can stay on my lines, my grid here. Oh, I'm recording, hon. And I should move that out of the way. Just give myself a little guide of where I want to stitch my signatures in, because my signatures are going to go right through this, and you'll be able to see the stitch marks on the outside spine of my journal. So now I've got my little guide here with my 3 holes, and I'm going to mark those. So now I know where I want to punch my thread through when I go to stitch. This is not an exact science. This is just me figuring out for my brain how I'm going to make it work. Now my hubby just told me it's going to cut grass, so it could get noisy here in a minute. So I'm probably not going to stay on much longer with this. So I've got my marks on my fabric, right? And that's for these pages. So now I need to punch the holes, the 3 holes in each signature. So I'm going to take a binder clip and hold my pages together. This is kind of a big binder clip for this. Here, let me get something. Let me get a smaller one. It takes up half of my page. Okay, so let's clip these. Now I'm going to use the same guide, and I'm just putting it in the fold of my pages, and I'm going to take something sharp like an awl or some kind of a poke tool, and I'm going to find that hole, and I'm going to just punch it through. Now you could clip this down too, You could put this in the center of a catalog to put your holes in. But you know, it's just not that big of a deal for this kind of a journal, I don't think. We said eclectic and junk, right? So I'm not going to fret about it. I have a magnet here on my desk holding my needle till I'm ready so I can find it. And my poke tool keeps sticking to it. I guess that's a good thing too. Now I did go through and make sure all my pages were right side up. I found a couple that were upside down. Just want to make sure that's in the fold. Oops, I didn't clip these pages. Let's do that. And then my last signature. Now, I could have grabbed a piece of plain cardstock, but you know what? My camera doesn't really like the white paper. And I didn't have any sitting right here, so I just grabbed a piece of old book paper. And I'm doing the same thing with this signature that I did with the others. Just you got to watch and not get your fingers. Okay? Then you're going to need a needle with a big eye that's going to take the thread. I'm going to use wax linen. These are my 3 signatures. And then this is blue, so I'm going to use my dark blue. Now you're going to want at least 3 lengths of your book to make sure you have enough. And that should be more than enough. So I'm going to cut 3 lengths of this. Nothing like having some weed whacking going on. I probably am just going to, well, I want you to see the whole process because, you know, actually I haven't done it before. I mean, I've made journals before, but not like this with this kind of a cover or spine to stitch right through the fabric. So I want to see how it goes. I want you to see how I make out. All right, so now I need to decide what signature I want first. And I think I want this one first, this one second, and then this one, which really looks like this. So it's like every other. So this is going to be my first signature. And I want to put it here. I want to make sure I've got my front cover where I want it. And I'm going to follow those hole marks that I made. So I'm going to grab my needle. Now, in this case, I've got a needle with a sharp point. Normally, I would have not be poking a hole through fabric. I would just be stitching through holes that I already made. So I could use a dull needle. I hope that makes sense. But because I want to go through this fabric, which I have not, now I could pre-poke those holes, you know. Maybe I should do that. That might make it a little easier for us. I'm just going to thread my needle. Okay. Let's just see. Yeah, this probably is a good idea. Now you could, in between, and I may try it on my next one, put a piece of sizing or interfacing if you wanted your fabric spine to be a little more stable. I decided not to do it on this. Everybody may not have that. So I'm going to go right through the center of my first signature, And I want my strings to be inside, so I'm going to start inside. So I'm going to bring that needle through and leave a tail. I want enough tail that I can tie. And then I'm going to go right through the center hole of my spine. Now this one may not line up real well. We're just going to see. I may have my now see, I know for my next one, I think I could have brought my first line to put my signature in a little more towards the center, because I was thinking my book cover would end up like this, where I'd have like a 1/4 inch or something. But this is going to be close, so we'll see. Now I want to make sure that I don't, pull my thread all the way out. And all you're going to do is come then through the top or the bottom of your next hole. So that is, for me, right here. I'm going to come through the top. Pull my thread. And then I'm going to come through the top hole of my signature, which looks to be right there. And then I want to snug that up. I want to make sure I don't have any loopy loops, Then I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom hole. And then make sure I go into that hole in my fabric that I wanted, and I did. I got lucky. And again, we're going to snug that. We're going to pull that snug. And now I need to come right back into the center. And try to avoid going through your thread. You want to try to get right next to it. Now I got it through there okay. But now I need to find my book pages. I've got it in there pretty snug. Okay, there we go. Now, if I have trouble pulling this through it all, I go and get a little pair of pliers, flat nose pliers that I can. I want to make sure I'm pulling the right. Let's see, I've got this little tail that I pulled through. There it is. Okay, I just want that to, and I like to put my thread on either side of my center thread. Now you don't want it too tight where your fabric here is going to buckle. See, and look at all the extra that I had. Now that was 3 times the length of the book. So I probably could have done less than that for sure. I'm not going to make a bow. I'm just going to make a knot. And then I may decide to put some charms or something on that. So I'm not going to cut that real short for me. I'm just going to cut it a little longer. Take my binder clip off. And my first signature is in. Now, depending on how it looks when the other signatures get in here, I may have to adjust something and put some trim or lace on the side. So let's try and see how we make out putting in the second signature. Now, I left quite a bit of room in between. Now, you may wonder why I did that. Well, I did that from experience from old time, putting scrapbooks together. years ago. And I was always taught to leave some space because as you add things, glue things in, and do embellishing, you want room for your pages to grow. So in hindsight, I'm thinking I could move these closer together. So the last book that I do, I think is going to be perfect. All right, grab my needle, which got attracted right to that magnet. That's a great trick. If you have a magnet that you can keep on your work desk when you're working with a needle, you just throw it. Oh, you're up. You're out of frame. I'm out of frame. See, I can just throw that right on that needle. Throw it right on that magnet, and then my needle doesn't get lost. I can't tell you how many times it ends up on the floor. And then if I come out here in bare feet, I had one went right in my toe. It was not pleasant. So we're going to do the same thing again. Repeat. I'm going into the center hole. Now I'm going into the center hole of the center line for my signature. Now I made my piece of fabric about 2 inches wide. You could do your own measurements and see what works for you. Right now I'm thinking that was probably a little too wide. I think I could have went 1.5 inches. But there again, now this is where it gets fiddly, especially when you're doing a video and you want people to see what you're doing. So I'm coming in that top spot that I marked in the center. Oh, I hope my tail didn't, yeah, my tail's still there. I'm going to come in that top hole that I made for my signature. And like I said, you can go into the bottom. It's middle, top or bottom, and then you go from there. I apologize for the weed whacking. He's trying to, look, my magnet got attached to my clip. He's trying to beat the rain. So that's why. Okay, now I'm coming down to the bottom hole that I have in my signature. And then I'm going to grab that bottom hole there in my spine. Straighten up my pages. I can take my clip off. And then I'm going to come back through the center. Now, the more signatures you get in there, the fiddlier it's going to be. Trying to get it to work out. I guess I'll listen back to the video. If it sounds too bad, I might have to do another recording. Oh, goodness. Okay, now I want to make sure I straighten this up before I cinch it too tight. Probably what I could have done was, I should have maybe put my third one here. I might do that. See, I can take that one off. If I go ahead and put that third one in there. Just see what I did? I went in the wrong hole. It's crooked. I went into the hole in the This is the last signature. So I need to take that out. And all I have to do is pull it. And I'll start over. See, look how good this is. We can learn together. I get the lawn done. See how I went crooked? But I'm still thinking I want this closer. So I'm going to get my little guide sheet again. Right side up. And I'm going to put it here. Just think I want to move it over. Mark me another hole. Yeah, I think I want that closer. So let's give that a whirl. I'm going to put my clip back on. How am I doing on time? Oh, I'm only at 30 minutes. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, so now I need to find my needle still on there. Oh, that's good. So I'm going through the center hole again. Make sure your pages are going the way you want. Make sure your cover's right side up. I'm going to go in that center dot I just created. Right through to the spine. I'm going to leave my tail. I'm going to come into the top here and hopefully find the right dot. Circle in a dot. There, and then I need to find the top one of my signature. This is when another hand would come in handy. Another hand would come in handy. Now I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. This is where I got in trouble. I want to make sure I'm in the right spot. I think I am. Now, I'm just thinking out loud. Say you don't like the stitches showing on the back here. Then just do it through one piece of fabric and then put another piece of fabric or another piece of paper over top of this after you're done stitching and cover it up. That would be okay. See, if you hit it just right, the needle comes right through those holes you made. And then you're golden. And if you do like I do and you don't, have your holes, well, I did end up punching the holes earlier, but use the sharper needle. Just be careful you don't stick yourself because, ooh, that smarts. Okay, so you want to tighten that up. And then take my needle off. Put it on my magnet. And then I'm going to tie this. Trim my little threads. Take off my binder clip. Still looks a little wonky because we don't have that last signature in. Right? Now what I might need to do is if I don't like it when it's done, when I get my last signature in, I probably could trim this off and re-glue. But we're going to see how it goes. All right, you want to hang in there with me, even though we got the lawn guy working outside. So this one I'm going to move up and put right there. So I've got another piece of thread here that we already had cut. I'm going to angle the end of it when I cut that off so it will hopefully go into my oh yeah, that was a lot easier. All right, so here we go. Repeat and repeat and repeat into the center signature hole. And then I'm going into that hole on my spine, and I'm going to come all the way through. Leave myself a tail. I can leave plenty of thread there because my string I made so long. And now we're going to find the top portion of that. Now it's not the original I made, it's that other one. So I want to come in right here and then go into the top part. Now I've got my one thread there. Let's pull him out. And then I want to go into the top of my signature. Okay. Now I caught a piece of my fabric, so I just wanted to, now I want to make sure. Now I'm going to come down to the bottom, just like we did the other times, and through those holes. That felt like it went right through my fabric. Yep, we're pretty spot on. All right. Make sure you're in the right signature. All right, now I'm going to go back through that center again. And hopefully I'm a little off the mark. Now your pages are going to be wiggly until you tie it if you've not done this before, so don't get nervous. Don't be getting nervous. So I'm just going to check and make sure it looks good there. Got it cinched up pretty tight there. All right, my threads are on either side of my center cord. I'm going to tie it. Cut my thread. Remove my binder clip. Now you can see it's off. I could leave it like this. I could trim it. Doesn't look bad. I'm going to put a piece of lace here anyway to decorate. But see, it's a bigger gap here. But what I'm thinking I might be able to easily do is just cut that off and move it over. But I'm going to think on that a little bit. I'm going to think on it. So I'll show you in the next video what I decided to do. But I'm going to go ahead and stitch this one in. And then I've got to glue this one yet. And I think what I'm going to do for this third one is I'm going to bring this down to 1.5 inches because I don't need all that. I don't need the 2 inches. So that's it for this video. Next video, gosh, I guess we can start decorating some pages, right? Making some pockets perhaps, and then we'll see how it goes. That might be the last one I need. Hey, this is going pretty good. I'm only 40 minutes into the video, which isn't too bad, I don't think, for sewing in 3 signatures. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining me. If you have any questions, any comments, let me know. And if you haven't become a sub on my channel yet, I sure like to have you join me. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.